This is Beer in Front, part of the Beer Media Group. Every week I'll talk to people in and around the beer world and get their stories all about beer. That's Beer in Front, and it's coming up now. Welcome to episode 247 of Beer in Front. I'm your host, Dave Zalatoris, and Beer in Front is a charter member of the Beer Media Group. This week, I'm talking art. We're fancy here at Beer in Front, talking art. Last week, Ruby and we went over to Midwest Coast Brewing, and we attended an event from Grey Duck Art. And what this is, you send in a photo of your pet. So we sent in pictures of Moira Rose. They send back this awesome paint-by-numbers kit that you do there at the brewery. So I reached out to them after I bought the tickets for this because I thought this was so cool. So I'm going to talk to Maddie DePaul from Grey Duck Art, and we're going to learn all about this. I thought this was fantastic, so stay tuned for that. That's coming up in a couple minutes. In beer and beverage news, Molson Coors is closing the Blue Moon Brew Pub in Denver at the end of the month. I know Molson Coors has been getting rid of a lot of their craft beers that they purchased or craft breweries that they purchased. They, shut down production of Leinenkugel in Chippewa Falls, moved that to Milwaukee. So if you're a fan of Blue Moon and you've been to the brew pub in Denver, unfortunately, you're going to have to go there pretty quick because they're shutting down at the end of the month. I'm a big fan of Maui Brewing Company. I've told you the story before how I was stuck on Maui for 3 weeks, so I drank a lot of it when I was there. I still like it. They're coming out with an island spirits line. Now, right now, they're going to have a vodka pineapple and a vodka mango. This is going to check in at 4.5%. I'm not sure of the distribution, but I will definitely pick this up if I see this in my travels. Guinness is coming out with something called the Lovely Day Project. Now, if you take a picture of yourself with some friends having a Guinness on St. Patrick's Day, if you send that in, you could win some stuff and also be featured in a new Guinness ad. So you can check out Guinness's website for more details on that. And the big beer news of the week is tariffs. They're on again, they're off again, they're on again. My head is spinning. By the time you listen to this, I'm sure it will change again. I'm not going to do a regular podcast episode next week. What I'm going to do is I'm teaming up with my friend Rod J over at Rod J Beer Ventures. We're going to have a live stream next Tuesday night. If you follow Rod or you follow myself on our YouTube channels, you could watch that live on Thursday. I'm going to edit that down, and we're both going to release the audio version as a standalone podcast as well later next week. So we have some good guests lined up, people from the malt community, breweries. So definitely check that out. We're going to delve deep into tariffs and how that's going to affect craft breweries here in the United States, as well as consumers like us. So that's next Tuesday over on YouTube, and probably next Thursday or Friday over on audio. If you live in the Midwest, you might have heard of Grey Duck Art. They're a Minnesota-based woman-owned company and have Paint Your Pet events at the finest breweries around. Last week, my wife and I attended one over at Midwest Coast Brewing here in Chicago, and we each painted our little gangster, Moira Rose. I'm so excited to talk today to Maddie DePaul. Maddie's the owner of Grey Duck Art. Maddie, thank you so much for coming on to talk today.
Yes, thank you for having me. I love learning of all these local podcasts and different ways for both of us to do all the things.
Well, before we get started, congratulations on your newborn. That's awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, she's 5 weeks now. So
Okay.
just working here and there, but I wanted to make time for this. So thanks
Yeah.
for
Well, thank you. Well, I think what you and the whole team over at Grey Duck Art is doing is so cool. How did you get started?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
So I used to teach kind of the classic like paint and sip classes where you go with your friends and you paint like a scene, like a tree or flower or whatever. That was great. And then I was also, this is kind of in college time-ish. It was kind of my side hustle through college. And then at the same time, people were also asking me to do commissioned art. And so I did a ton of Christmas orders of painting people's pets for them. And then they would buy like a painted picture of their pet. And then people started saying like they wanted to do, the classes kind of blew up. This was maybe like 2016-ish. The classes got big and everyone was doing them for bachelorette parties and all these things. And people were saying they wanted to do something more customized. And I had really grown the other half of my side hustle to do painted pictures of pets. And so, people were like, you really should combine the two. People love their pets. It's a hot market, whatever. But the caveat with this is that freehand drawing is usually not everyone's cup of tea. And freehand drawing takes so much practice. It's not like a go to a brewery, jump in and learn how to freehand a picture of your dog.
Especially when there's alcohol involved too.
Yeah. Especially when you're having a couple beers with friends and chatting about all the things. So, I found a way to combine the two by making a paint by number system so people could easily just jump in and paint. And even then, I think there's this hurdle. There's this huge like misconception in the world that not everyone's creative. And I think that's a total load of BS. I think everyone can paint and everyone is creative, but that's a whole nother rant. But anyway, so I found the way to make a paint by number system. And over the last 7-8 years we've grown a little bit, and we have now 4 artists that hand draw all of our paint by numbers. And so now we have this kit, right, that you can come to a brewery or you can have it shipped right to your house, and it's a whole paint by number on a canvas of your pet, and you get a whole custom set of paints too. And so how I came up with the idea is I just needed to find a way for people to paint their pet, because I knew people were obsessed, and I knew that people would want to just paint and not stress so much about the drawing side of it.
What I really like the most about it is that, like you said, like you don't have to be an artist to do this. I mean, everyone has done at some point or another in their life a paint by number. Like in my case, it's been a long time ago, but it's simple. It's fun to do. It's something that everyone can, pick up and enjoy.
Yes. Yeah, I see that all the time. I try to go to a lot of our Minnesota events. We're obviously not able to travel around the whole country now, but I go to a lot of our Minnesota events and I see people come into the event. Like my friend dragged me here. I don't think I can do this. I don't even want to be here, but my friend submitted a picture of my pet. Maybe it was a surprise for them. Some people even start off a little like crappy. Like they're like, oh, like, I don't know about this. Like they're about to skydive is the vibe. Yeah. And I'm like, I promise you can do it. We'll just do one color at a time. Like you just need to paint one color. And then all of a sudden after they paint one color, it's like it's so fun for them and they're so relaxed and they just like paint the picture. And then all of a sudden within like a couple colors left, they're like, holy shit, that's my dog. And then, it's like this also like a boost of creative confidence too, where people are like, oh my gosh, I did this. This is so cool. So it's really neat to see people go from square 0 to square 100.
Yeah. Did your dog Maggie ever get tired of posing for you when you were starting Grey Duck Art?
I know. I like that you knew that my dog Maggie. I know. Yeah, she was like the model for a long time. And it's funny because she's a black lab, and so she couldn't quite showcase how talented our artists are and how cool these kits are with just being a one-colored animal. I would say like those calico cats or like the Bernese mountain dogs with like the 12 different colors in the fur are really much better models. But Maggie was a good starting point, especially when our kits were much simpler. We really have come a long way in our kits too, of how, they used to be like so simple and just a couple colors. And now we usually have like 15 to 20 colors and all sorts of shading and all sorts of cool stuff. So,
well, like you mentioned, it was hand drawn. So how does the process work from somebody sending in a photo of their pet to getting the paint by numbers on canvas?
Yeah. So AI is not quite to the level that we need it to yet. And so you submit a picture of your pet. my teammate Bailey, who does all the computer work behind the scenes. She crops it, she puts it into a photo editor, and she posterizes the image. And posterization, if you don't know what that is, it's just a kind of a basic photo editing tool, and it kind of ends up like the presidential images. Usually they all have them. This isn't political, but it's like the red and blue flat graphic image of their face.
Okay.
And usually they have like a slogan underneath one of them. I think one of the president's slogan was like hope or something. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
Obama's. I remember that one. Yeah.
Obama, okay. Yeah, so we turn into like a flat image situation. That's kind of like the framework. And when we do that, what happens is like sometimes the eyes get edited out if they're a little dark. Sometimes the mouth like looks all sorts of wonky. So that's where our artists come in. So we print that posterized image, and then that is the same size as the canvas, and the artists use that to work off of. And so they use probably like 50% posterized image and 50% freehand work. The posterized image is great to make sure that the outline and some of the shading is in the perfect spot. So when you get your kit, if the outline looks wonky, I promise it's not. A lot of the things are like totally traced right on. That's printed right from the image that you sent, and then the other half is freehand. So a lot of the like different colors and different shading, like some of the shadows in a golden retriever will end up looking black, but that fur definitely is not black. So our artists are so talented at deciphering, colors from animals to paint colors and just plain shapes, and making those plain shapes those 2D shapes end up so three-dimensional. It's really, really cool. And so they're artists. We have 4 artists right now, and they draw the whole thing. It's done with pencil essentially, and number everything. We usually end up between 14 and 22 colors per kit. And then we have a paint system that we use. We have 40 kind of stock colors that a lot of animals' fur falls into. And then we have a lot of colors that we also hand mix too. And so then they package up a paint strip for you. They take a Sharpie and write all the numbers. It's very, very homemade. They all work from home. It's really, it's a system, but it's also a huge process. So it's really neat, and it's very, very local and very custom to your pet.
Yes. I mean, both my wife and I loved it. Now, you mentioned earlier that like calico cat. So this isn't exclusive to dogs. A cat owner or other pet owner can have their pet done.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. Yep. We do probably like 60 to 70% dogs. There seems to be a bigger market for it for some reason. And then another big chunk cats, maybe 20%. And then we see a lot of rabbits and horses. And then we see a lot of the like other category, like we've seen mice and rats and snakes and lizards and bearded dragons and all sorts of cool things. We also started doing humans too. So some people would want to paint like their grandson or a new baby as a baby gift or whatever. And those turn out really cool too. We only do humans in black and white though, because skin tones are very, very, very hard to match based on one image that you send. So we only do black and white, but they turn out really, really neat. And that's a really cool gift. Some people give them as like a wedding gift. We have a little page on our website. I think it's graydecart.com/humans. And you can go look at pictures of black and white human pictures we've done. They're really neat.
What's the oddest request you've received for something to be done?
A good question. I would say some of the different animals, like the mice, the little white mice with like red eyes.
Okay.
Not so much my jam. I understand if it's your jam, but some of the animals, I'm like, no, thank you. But we do just about anything. Some people have painted their houses or their cabins. That turns out really cool. It's a good like realtor gift. Some realtors have asked us to give new home buyers that gift from them or something like that.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah. So we've had there's been some weird stuff too, but there's been some cool things along the road too.
I was so happy to be in the right place at the right time when Midwest Coast posted the event, because I've seen other ones around and I click on it to like, oh, I want to do this with my wife, and it's sold out right away. So once they posted it, I pounced on it right away. I mean, that has to be extremely rewarding for you as a business owner that your events and your company is so well received.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's really cool. When we posted our first event back in 2017, it sold out within like a couple hours, and I thought our Eventbrite page was broken. I was like, what is going on? This is our first event. No one's ever heard of us. We actually were MP design at the time. It was really crazy. And now it's so funny you say that because Midwest Coast has been one of our most popular breweries. And that's not always the case. Not all of our events fill up that fast, but Midwest Coast for some reason is just like, and they're really good at marketing the event. And I think people have heard about it a lot because we've done a lot of events at Midwest Coast. So they've been really, really great too.
Yeah, and actually, if you're in the Chicago area listening, they have two more events lined up, one on May 14th and one on July 16th. So sign up now for those.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone should come. And it's funny because the night of the event, we get a lot of signups for the next event. So I
Okay.
saw a lot of ticket orders come through the other night when you guys had your event in February. So
Yeah. Well, I looking at your event page, you don't do like exclusive breweries. You have like other events and fundraisers around.
yeah, we do a little bit of everything. I would say our main partnership for public events is definitely breweries. Breweries seem to have the space and the time and want beer drinkers to come in. And we are a very good activity for people to sit, drink, chat with friends and paint. And so typically we bring in, some good beer drinkers for them.
Yeah.
And they provide a really great space for painters to just relax and chill. We do wineries too sometimes and different cafes and things like that. But breweries seem to be the most popular for some reason.
Now, you mentioned earlier that someone could go on your website and order. So if somebody's not near an event, they're not shut out. They could go to your website and order directly from you.
Yeah. Yep. Same product either way. You can have it shipped to your house or you can have it shipped to a brewery and go paint it at a certain day and time. People seem to like or some people like to, especially extroverts, like the brewery event because it's an exact like time and place where they're going to have a scheduled time to paint and take time out of their day. I feel like we live in such a busy world, right? Where it's like you get the kit and then it might sit at your home for a couple months and then you're like, oh shoot, I still need to paint that. And then it's just hard to find the time sometimes. So especially if you want to go paint with a group of friends, I feel like the breweries are great. But yeah, 50% of our business is shipped to homes and 50% is shipped to breweries. So we do a lot of both. But yeah, it takes after you order online, it takes about 2 weeks to get to your doorstep. But same process. You email in your photos, you buy your kit online on our website, and same exact kit, just two different ways to go about it.
The hardest part, if you're a pet owner, you understand, is finding the perfect picture because everyone's camera roll on their phone has thousands of pet pictures. So it's like, oh shit, which one do I use?
Yes, exactly. I hear that all the time. And I always tell people, do not send in a photo that you're not willing for us to use. Because from our perspective, we do usually like the ones that you like that are cute and the tongue out or the ball in the mouth or whatever. But from our perspective, we always choose one that has the best lighting. And so we can see all the colors and the shadows. And if you send a photo that has really good lighting, but you hate the pose and you hate the photo, just don't send it, please, because you might use it and then you won't like your kit. So yeah, we see. I mean, people have sent in photos or emails with like 30 plus photos, and they're like, I can't choose. I've narrowed it down. These are the photos that I can narrow it down to. You pick. So it's fun, and I'm right there with them. I love my dog, and I have so many pictures of her.
Yeah. So, well, the entire team at Grey Duck Art needs to be commended. You put out some amazing artwork in what is normally a quiet time for breweries, like middle of winter on a weeknight. There was a great crowd. If a brewery or an organization wants to get in touch with you to have an event, how would they do so?
Oh, good question. We have a page on our website. It's greyduckart.com, and there's like a big thing. It says host an event. And that gives all the logistics of like how you can go about hosting an event, whether it's like 3 of your friends at your own house, or if you're a brewery wanting to do one of these, whatever. And so that page, it's just greyduckart.com/host, or you could email me too. That's Maddie, Maddy, at greyduckart.com.
Excellent. Well, yes, they should. Like I said, Wednesday night in February in Chicago, normally, breweries aren't that crowded. There's nothing going on. There's no big sporting event or anything like that. And the place was a really good crowd. So definitely it's something I would think breweries would want to do to get some people in on a normal, slow night.
Yes, exactly. And we actually include a beer in each person's paint ticket too.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of a nice, and a lot of painters like don't read the fine print when they sign up for Eventbrite. So they get to the brewery And they're like, oh, I get a beer. That's great. So it's a win on their part. And then it's a win on the brewery's part too, because it's at least guaranteed, one beer per person. And usually people will have one or two more because they're there for 3 hours. So it's kind of a win on the brewery part as well. So
Yeah, I mean, we had a great time, so I can't recommend it enough. Well, Maddie, I thank you so much. I know you got a lot to do today, but you got to check out grayduckart.com. I'll have the links in the show notes, but it's Gray, Gray, duckart.com. It's a lot of fun. I'll have the picture of Moira Rose up so everyone can see my little terrorist rat terrier. Yeah.
I love it. Well, thank you, Dave. Thank you for having me. And it's funny that you specified GRAY because we get that all the time. And we actually own the domain that's GREY. So
Okay.
in theory, it should redirect you. Who knows?
Yeah, but I'll include the link in the show notes. I know because I posted like just the paint by numbers with the original photo, the date of the event. And I had so many people from work, even my ex-wife texted me like, where did you get that? So, hopefully you got to check them out. grayduckart.com. I think you're going to enjoy it if you're a pet owner, if you're a child, not child owner, but if you have a child too, they could hook you up.
Thank you. Thank you, Dave. This is awesome.
Okay, Maddie, take care. We'll talk to you down the road.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, the beer that's in front of me this week is from Bell's. I was at Costco the other day, and they had a two-hearted variety pack, if you will. They had an East Coast hazy hearted, like a double Imperial IPA, along with the regular two-hearted. So I grabbed the mix pack case, if you will. I'm going to have the hazy hearted. I mean, Two Hearted's a great beer, one of the best beers in America. So hopefully the rest of these are going to be good. The Hazy Hearted IPA checks in at 7.5%. Let's crack it open and see. Hazy Hearted looks good. It's very light and pale. Good foam on this. Smells pretty decent. I'm getting like some faint notes of mango, maybe. But no, I think the smell is pretty good on this. Not bad. Got a nice creamy mouthfeel to it. I think it's pretty good. It's not like over the top with hops like you get from a brewery like Hop Butcher. So the aroma and the flavor is more on the faint side, but it's there, and I think it's decent. Definitely getting like a little of the alcohol at the end. Yeah, I mean, it's a decent beer. To be honest, I don't know if I would buy this as a standalone product. I think, Hazy's out there. Local Craft puts out, in my opinion, better ones. Or if you're looking for a national or a regional chain, you could always get the hazy little thing from Sierra Nevada. While I don't think this is a bad beer, I'm not going to dump it. I think it's decent, but I don't know if I would buy this again. If I were just to see this as a standalone 6-pack at my grocery store or liquor store. So pretty decent. I mean, you can get the whole case at Costco for reasonable price. You can get a couple different Two Hearteds to try. So not going to say put it in the cart, but if you get that case at Costco, yeah, you could throw that one in the cart. All right, that's going to wrap things up for this edition of Beer in Front. I thank you very much for listening. Maddie DePaul from Gray Duck Art, thank you for coming on. You got to check out grayduckart.com. I love this company. Check them out. Paint a picture of your pet. No new show next week. It's going to be a joint collaboration with Rod J's Beer Adventures. You could follow either of us over on YouTube. You can watch a live stream next Tuesday or listen to a audio podcast that we'll put out later next week. Have a great week, everyone. And remember, sometimes the beer in front of you is the best one yet.